Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive recruitment drive from SML Engineering and Contracting. But, we're definitely not just going to read off some dry, boring list of job openings. No way. We're going to use these 12 open positions as a totally unique opportunity to see exactly how massive construction projects come to life. It's kind of like a giant puzzle, and we're going to map these roles directly onto the life cycle of a mega project, from that very first bid right down to the final safety inspection. So if you've ever wondered how an empty dirt lot turns into a towering structure, or hey, if you're looking to actually land a job doing exactly that, you are definitely in the right place.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with SML's recruitment drive, then move through planning and pre-construction, step into execution and supply chain, cover safety and quality control, and wrap up by detailing exactly how you can land one of these jobs.
Okay, Section 1, SML's massive recruitment drive. Let's set the stage for these crucial roles.
SML is a seriously major player in engineering, construction, project management, and infrastructure. And because the stakes are incredibly high on these multi-million-dollar projects, they follow a very strict chronological life cycle. Everything starts with the bid and tender phase, which usually takes a few weeks, then moves into planning and design for months, pushes forward into procurement and building for even more months, and the whole thing is underpinned constantly by ongoing inspection and security. We're going to follow this exact flow today.
But actually, before we look at that first phase, we kind of need to demystify some industry jargon that SML specifically targets. First up is EPC, which stands for Engineering, Procurement, and Construction. Think of this as a massive project delivery model, where the contractor handles the whole shebang. They design it, they buy the materials, and they actually build the project.
Next up is MEP, standing for Mechanical, Electrical, and Plumbing. This is another really massive sector mentioned in the SML sourcing material. A lot of the candidates applying for these jobs today will be out there actively building these incredibly complex internal systems.
Section 2, Planning and Pre-Construction. This is where those initial ideas and bids get turned into actionable, fully funded plans.
All right, let's look at the absolute beginning of the project. We have two absolutely key roles right out the gate, the tender technical engineer and the draftsman. Let me give you a quick day-in-the-life glimpse based on SML's requirements. The tender technical engineer is the one reviewing project specs, coordinating with estimation teams, and preparing the technical proposals and tender documents to actually win the bid. Literally, without them, the project just doesn't exist. Meanwhile, the draftsman is right there in the trenches with them, creating engineering drawings, modifying designs, and whipping up shop drawings using software like AutoCAD or Revit. They're coordinating directly with engineers and architects to give the project its visual foundation.
So once the bid is won and the project gets the green light, two more absolutely vital roles step in: the planning engineer and the quantity surveyor. The planning engineer is basically the master of time. They create the master schedules and timelines, usually heavily utilizing Primavera P6 or Microsoft Project, and they're the ones preparing delay and productivity reports. Right alongside them is the quantity surveyor, who is the master of the budget. They do all the quantity takeoffs from the drawings, handle cost estimation, and intensely monitor the project costs to keep everything financially viable.
Now, the quantity surveyor's most critical deliverable is the BOQ, or Bill of Quantities. This is basically the master document detailing every single material, part, and cost needed for the entire build. To put that into perspective, without a highly precise BOQ, a project can literally financially collapse before a single shovel even hits the dirt.
Moving right along to Section 3, Execution and Supply Chain. The plans are set, the budget is approved, and now it's time to actually build. Let's dive into the active phase and see how this all comes together. The procurement officer and the document controller are kind of the unsung heroes of this execution phase. The procurement officer takes that massive BOQ we just talked about and, well, goes shopping. They purchase the construction materials, manage the vendors, negotiate the prices, and coordinate all the deliveries using ERP systems. But, as you can imagine, with all those materials and constantly changing plans comes an absolute mountain of paperwork. And that is exactly where the document controller comes in. They use electronic document management systems, or EDMS, to manage every single project document, handle all the correspondence, and ensure every single revision is perfectly traceable.
Now, what's really fascinating is the dynamic between the office and the literal dirt of the construction site. SML needs technical office engineers to review drawings, prepare technical submittals, coordinate design changes, and just generally support the execution teams. Out in the elements, taking all those plans and making them a physical reality, is the site supervisor. This person is on the ground managing the workers and subcontractors, supervising daily construction activities, and ensuring the whole chaotic symphony stays perfectly on track.
That brings us to Section 4, Safety and Quality Control. Because, honestly, building it fast doesn't matter one bit if you don't build it safe and build it right.
To really wrap our heads around the next set of roles, we need to define HSE, Health, Safety, and Environment. This is a massive, absolutely crucial priority for SML, to the point where they are hiring 3 distinct roles just to manage this one critical aspect of the project.
There's a really clear hierarchy of safety at play here. Right at the top, you have the HSE Engineer. They are the planners. They develop the safety procedures, conduct the risk assessments, and investigate any incidents. They're the ones usually holding those high-level certifications like NEBOSH or OSHA. Next up is the HSE Coordinator. They handle the logistics, so they're coordinating safety documentation, arranging training sessions, and maintaining all those compliance records. Finally, right down at the ground level is the HSE Officer. They're the enforcers. They conduct the daily safety inspections, give those essential toolbox talks to the crew, monitor PP compliance, and report any violations. It's a highly structured safety net.
So the crucial takeaway here is that while the HSE team ensures the workers are safe, the QA/QC inspector ensures the building itself is safe. Quality assurance and quality control inspectors verify compliance with all those original project specifications. They conduct rigorous quality audits, inspect construction activities, and prepare really detailed inspection reports. For these roles, SML specifically looks for preferred certifications like CSWIP, NDT, and a really strong knowledge of ISO 9001 standards.
And finally, Section 5, Landing the Job. We've seen the life cycle, so let's talk about how you actually get your foot in the door. If you're going to apply, you absolutely need to make sure you have these software tools in your digital tool belt. SML specifically highlights these required skills across their roles. AutoCAD is heavily featured across multiple engineering and drafting positions. You're going to need Primavera P6 and MS Project for the planning side of things, Revit and Civil 3D for drafting, ERP systems if you're aiming for procurement, and EDMS for document control.
Of course, experience matters, and SML is looking for specific project backgrounds. They are actively seeking candidates with hands-on experience in building construction, infrastructure, industrial, and oil and gas projects. So, whether you're a civil, mechanical, or electrical engineer, or maybe a seasoned professional in safety, procurement, or quality control, your background in these massive sectors is exactly what they're hunting for.
Think about the journey we just went on. From the tender engineer placing the initial bid, to the site supervisor managing the crew, all the way to the QA/QC inspectors signing off on the final build. Which part of this massive project lifecycle best aligns with your experience and your passions?
If you know your role, here is your exact step-by-step application procedure. SML is very specific about what they want to see here. Step 1. Make sure your resume explicitly highlights your relevant project experience and actually names the major projects you've handled. Step 2. List your software skills and any of those safety or quality certifications we just discussed. Step 3, and this is totally mandatory, include your current and expected salary along with your notice period. Step 4. Once your resume hits all those marks, email it directly to hr@smlengineering.com.
SML Engineering and Contracting is literally building the future, and they need a small army of highly specialized professionals to pull it off. So, I'm going to leave you with this. What part of the life cycle will you build? Let us know in the comments below. And hey, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for regular updates on explainers just like this one. And drop a comment for any suggestions or collaborations. Thanks so much for learning with us today, and we'll catch you on the next explainer.